This was the first project I ever covered on this channel. So, if anything, there's kind of some sentimental thoughts in that regard. As you see right here, I've covered this since December 15th of 2021 on this particular channel. It was the first I ever got into as far as utility, and I did about 50 videos on it. Some things I want to jump into, and that is this. It's the recent news. If you get into some of these things, well, look what it mentions in regards to capital market ecosystems. As you see, plain as day, numerous mentions about all this. Whether it's an exclusive of Africa's tech ecosystem sees a strong local capital market for sustainable growth 3 days ago, or back in May of how the UK plans natural capital markets for marine protection, or even a month ago, how does capital markets software boost tech adoption? But I like this one. How can harnessing the power of ecosystems make finance effortless? Well, it led me down the rabbit hole. And you guys know me when it comes to this. It's things like this, the statements. Look what you see, November 28, 2024, from CoinTrust. Mansa Finance partners with Clearpool to revolutionize cross-border trade. I have to take a moment to highlight this because, yes, you heard me say it. You saw it in the thumbnail. I truly believe that Clearpool will reach $22 by 2026. No, that's not me closing my eyes and saying Rama Gama, whatever. This is the way I believe, crystal ball. Rarely, if you have been following me, do I do price predictions. I'll back up my particular hypothesis of how we realistically hit those targets, cite other references that will back that up, and actually give you some data that will support that. I know it sounds nuts. Could I be wrong? Absolutely. At the end of the day, none of this is financial advice, and it's not a sure thing, but we can definitely look into capital market ecosystems, real world asset tokenization. I get it, everybody. There's more than one. But what about Clearpool? How does it stand out ahead of the pack? Well, back to this. Things like this help because we talk about Ripple XRP when it comes to cross-border payments. We talk about XDC when it comes to cross-border trade. But launching Ozean blockchain to boost emerging markets. Not aware of this. Clearpool has its own blockchain and it's coming soon. It's in testnet as we speak. Look what it says here. It says Mansa Finance, decentralized finance platform, is focused on providing liquidity for cross-border payments companies and import-export businesses. Announced partnership, of course, with Clearpool. Through this collaboration, Mansa will roll out its cross-border payments and trade finance solutions on the Ozean blockchain, a decentralized ecosystem, of course, powered by Clearpool. I don't care what project it is, how many times have we seen where if you have something out there that starts its own blockchain, there's some significance there. Look at, for example, ones that we saw in the past, literally 2023, things like Arbitrum, and seeing how, again, ecosystems are built, projects built on the particular blockchains because they see that that is an attractive outlet for them to build on. When you have ecosystems, well, you should see price action. Shouldn't you see more liquidity? I think the answer is yes. To get more further into this, I want you guys to understand that real world asset yields are not only talked about, they're a real thing. All right. Well, speaking of Clearpool being a real thing, are you aware that it's been up 687.43%, give or take, on the year, by the way? A few hours ago, I saw this as high as 58 cents. Keep in mind, the circulating supply is only 725 million, and its max supply is only 1 billion Clearpool. All right. So it's been crushing it. Even on the month, it's been crushing it. 152% up. All right. Well, is that all we got? Well, just in case you're interested in this, Even if you're American, you can't get this. You get on Kraken, and you can pay in US dollars to get this. So that's cool. All right, a little bit more about this. Because when we jump into some of the recent developments for Clearpool, what do you see? Straight from a pinned message, straight from Clearpool Finance, which I appreciate them following me and I follow them. But highly anticipated launch of Ozean moves one step closer. It's referred to as the Poseidon testnet, and yes, it is live. Like it says, the milestone brings us closer to enabling automatic native yield on chain through Ozean's real world asset focused blockchain, paving the way to unlock trillions in TradeFi capital to celebrate their rewarding early adopters and, like it says, in track campaign to win a share of 6,000 Tether prize pool. If you're wondering about them, Intrack is a Web3 platform to participate in quests, earn rewards, have fun. Huge following, over or close to 1 million. So we are going to dive into this. Poseidon, you gotta love the terminology, right? Posted December 12th, just literally a couple days ago. Because when we get further into this, well, look at some of the key terminology. It says here that for one, they are going to use this testnet basically to allow and enable users to earn native yield on chain automatically. On chain through their own blockchain? That sounds awesome. Look at this. Poseidon Testnet provides developers, early adopters, a risk-free environment to explore and contribute to the Ozean protocol. The launch comes with a pivotal moment for DeFi and also RWA community. Opportunity to shape the future of finance. But when I saw this, well, this is what you are listening for. It's the key features of this testnet. And USDX is the native gas token, a stablecoin fully backed and issued by Hex Trust. You also have OZUSD, yield bearing stablecoin that automatically rebases in your wallet, returning the risk free rate to holders. And this one, you may not have ever heard of this one. WOZUSD, wrap version of Ozean's USD, and it's Ozean's yield bearing stablecoin. All right, cool. And of course, if you want more info, you can participate in this particular prize pool. All right, so that sounds cool. But at the end of the day, what about this whole thing of Ozean? All right, they mentioned that. So it's built as an Ethereum layer 2. It's part of Optimism superchain. Ozean includes optional, compliance layer. And I like the terminology. You know, guys, I cover quant quite a bit. Enhancing interoperability across permission protocols. This growing ecosystem enables RWAs to be traded, used as collateral, and integrated into DeFi and added functionality. When you see these terms, used as collateral, DeFi, added functionality, well, again, back to the whole thing about cross-border trade. So, me, you, everybody else who is in the XDC, I mean, this is right up our alley. With the mainnet launch around the corner, stay tuned for more announcements. All right, this is big. Is it buy the rumor, sell the news? No, but I don't care what it is. You come out out of the gates with a new blockchain, that's something. And speaking of something, look at this. When we talk about supply and demand, you have to join a waiting list for this. You don't think that's supply and demand? You better believe it is. Blockchain for real world asset yields. And like you see here, Ozean with Optimism. First compliant RWA yield chain built and supported by Optimism. Effortlessly integrate real world assets into DeFi and seamless access native yield on chain. So you're more than welcome to join the waitlist if you choose to do so. Thought that was very worth pointing out. And again, I like the terminology that we see here because Ozean is launched, yes, indeed, by Clearpool. That is amazing. And we also see that as of the time of making this video, 589,769,812 total loans originated. TVL at 87,536,000. Okay, what else have we got in regards to this? Well, Shout out to Jacob K. Kronbeikler of the Clearpool Finance, co-founder and CEO. Been following this guy for a long time, but I guess I have to refollow him. That's weird. I have to follow him again. Anyway, what does it say? There was an announcement that was literally on the 13th yesterday, and it's this partnership with, it's referred to as IX Swap. Maybe some people want to call this 9Swap. I don't know. But look what it says: Uniswap for real world asset tokens. Huh. That sounds bullish. That sounds good. That sounds interesting. I like how Jacob goes right to the point. Why this partnership matters. We are unlocking, DeFi use cases and liquidity for the $15 trillion RWA market. And this is what Ozean will be all about. Step one, real world assets from real estate equity and to debt. Remember how many times we've done our deep dives, talked about the significance of tokenizing debt? Well, equity to debt. So it says RWAs are tokenized under IX Swap's regulated framework. You want to know something? We always stated that anything with real clarity should stand out. Well, this is regulated? I mean, I'm putting two together and I'm seeing that this is definitely something that stands out. Step two, these tokenized real world assets are then used on Clearpool as collateral to borrow cash or crypto without selling your assets. That sounds amazing. All right, check this out. If you go to clearpool.finance, well, if you're not familiar with it to begin with, they have expanded upon their main net, lending, staking, bridge, borrowers, and so on. My last video, it's been a while since I did Clearpool, but we did put some highlight about not letting your stable coins sit around, right? Well, look what it says here. Emphasis on Ozean coming soon. First decentralized credit marketplace. 653,391,000 loans originated. And here's the other cool thing about it. You know, some people will point out, well, is it more than just Ethereum? Well, of course it is. Look what you have. You have networks such as Mantle, Ethereum, Optimism, and you see, for example, those average APRs. You even see the staking. And my opinion, this is literally, as the saying goes, utility put into motion. Permissionless products, it's all there. And from the beginning of Clearpool, I've always liked the idea. If I'm a VC, there's no lockup. You can withdraw anytime. It's pretty cool. Not too bad. All right. What else have we got in regards to this? Well, here's what really stands out. It's from the white paper. Sometimes people don't read these things, but if anything, I'll get right into the key highlights. Since 2021, when I first heard about Clearpool, always stood out to me as being a decentralized capital markets ecosystem. But more importantly, where it says where institutional borrowers can launch single borrower liquidity pools and compete for unsecured liquidity from a decentralized network of lenders. Say what you want. Incentivizing VCs to join a DeFi platform that's outside the realm of traditional finance, it's just a win-win all the way. It's even a win for us in retail. So take this next part. It's the protocol. Don't ever forget about it. Clearpool is a decentralized capital markets ecosystem, like I pointed out at the beginning of the video. First dynamic marketplace for unsecured institutional capital. How so? It's that merging of the sophistication of traditional capital markets with the benefits of blockchain decentralization. Clearpool significantly improves the landscape for both borrowers, lenders as well, but in DeFi. All right. And this other area, lenders, liquidity providers, on Clearpool protocol, typically individually or institutionally speaking, are rewarded fairly for risk taking, with pool interest rates rising when risk increases and falling when risk decreases. But here's the main thing. Clearpool vets all of these VCs. They don't just onboard anybody. This next part, what are some of the key advantages? Well, again, look at this. They have equilibrium pool size and interest rates determined by market supply and demand. It's uncollateralized liquidity for institutional borrowers. Say what you want, that is attractive. And if you're wondering about the utility, well, at the end of the day, Clearpool is powered by the CPOOL utility and governance token, hence the CPOOL token. So, would we see multiple examples of institutional borrowers coming to the platform? The answer is you already do. All right, check this out. Again, I understand some people see this, they're like, hey, this is bogus. I hear you. There's so many different sites that do crazy price predictions, but I'm actually going to show you where I feel as though that these guys, they seem like they're spot on. I'll show you some data to back that up. So this is from crypto.ro. It mentions that they feel as though that Clearpool long-term price prediction, man, they got me beat because I had Clearpool by 2026, sometime in 2026, maybe at the beginning, mid, just depends. I had them at 22 bucks, okay? But they have it in 2025. All right. What are they referencing? Them doing their own blockchain, their explosive growth over 600% on the year. Hard to say, but thought I would point that out because for them to have them at 2178 on average price 2025, well, say what you want, that's a pretty darn significant price. All right, getting further into this, what else do we have that is recent? Well, I like some of this. November 15th, literally about a month ago, you have this from Cointelegraph. Why point it out? Well, financial institutions will drive RWA tokenization, $1 trillion growth. Real world asset tokenization industry is projected by some to exceed $30 trillion by 2030, driven by nimble and mainstream financial institutions. If that's the case, how can Clearpool just do, like, for example, a small percentage of that? And also keep in mind, there's only a billion tokens. If we compare this to other projects like XRP, you have 100 billion of those tokens. Stellar 50 billion, right? And I'm into all those. And I love those projects. But this is only a billion. So there's that. And currently in circulation, was it a little over 700 million? That's also worth pointing out. As I get to this next part, I want you guys to see this, and that is where it states that financial institutions will be the main drivers of the growing tokenization industry leading up to 2030. So it's the financial institutions that are going to cause this explosive growth for things like Clearpool. But will we see a potential of more than 50-fold growth? I mean, think about it. Clearpool, could it very well do like a 50x from where it's at right now? I mean, call what you want. Excuse me, still fighting this cold. Call what you want. I think that's definitely worth pointing out. And I have some other references I'm going to get into. So, RWA, large institutions, tokenization. Look at this statement from this particular gentleman. And that is where it says from this guy from Bitfinex, it's the more nimble institutions that fast movers like the family offices, those kind of guys. He thinks that they have an outsized impact in these early days, but eventually the benefits of tokenization, they're going to pull in mainstream institutional investors. That's what we want. And with Clearpool, I already see this. And just in case you are not aware of it, Jane Street, yes, one of the biggest names in Wall Street, partnered with Clearpool. And that was announced all the way back in early 2022. Now, just in case you think, for whatever reason, that there is no super platform for tokenization, well, I have news for you. There already is. Yes, this isn't Clearpool, this is TokenFi, but this is a great example of like a potential explosion. Some of you guys are into TokenFi. So TokenFi, the super platform for tokenization, set to revolutionize tokenization landscape, of course, with RWA, tokenization module. TokenFi has a suite of tools, makes it easy for anyone, regardless of technical experience, to tokenize assets. But even with them, they boast the whole thing, and it's not on this particular page, it's on a different one, but they boast also no lines of code. Well, again, why does that even matter? Well, when you see statements like this, even from Uphold, look what it says. You have the whole thing of TokenFi, and even with them, look what it says here. It says, specifically speaking, that, look at this. They have a launcher. They create tokens out of smart contracts on EVM chains, and it allows the launch to audited ERC20, ERC721, and ERC1155 tokens without the need to touch a line of code. Say what you want. I put a lot of emphasis on quant with the overledger, right? So that stands out as well. Okay, check this out. It gets even better, because if you were to look into some of that tokenized growth, RWA, TokenFi is probably one of the best examples of that. And if you're not aware of it, well, all-time low was, look at this, 1, 2, 3, 4 zeros, 4864, about a year ago, October 27th, 2023. All-time highs was only 9 months ago. This thing shot up to 24 cents. Say what you want. Every time a project burns a zero, or erases a zero, that's a big deal. But this one erased 3 zeros? And even right now, we're at 6 cents. Hey, call what you want. That's definitely worth pointing out. What about projects like Clearpool in the mix when it comes to RWA? I think you know where we're going with this. All right, let's jump into this next part, because we need to get more examples of RWA tokenization. This one is straight from Cointelegraph. Institutions are betting big on RWAs and expecting large returns. November 7, 2024. Institutions fueling RWA tokenization growth, but challenges remain for this emerging sector. Well, of course. Would the challenges basically be what's going to happen on the near horizon when it comes to regulatory compliance, clarity, and so on? But if you already have ones, or have the ones out there, I should say, that have that regulatory framework built in, well, again, back to this whole thing. Even Cointelegraph cites the whole thing of research from Trend Finance that suggests RWA tokenization sector could see 50x growth by 2030. Major players, BlackRock and so on. This is why in the past I did that whole piece about BlackRock, right? And then also, examples about real world asset tokenization. So 50x, I had to show you more than one source, because again, it leads us to even this. And when we talk about private credit, this will absolutely make your head spin when you get more into it. Because what do we see? It's all about yield bearing RWA growth. Yes, this is from 2023. It's also the whole point of, like, private credit. Because when it comes to Clearpool, we talk about the tokenization of some of this stuff. Capital market ecosystems, private credit, real world asset tokenization. Look what it says in regards to some of the key terminology here. All right. So, private credit solutions are beneficial for both borrowers and lenders. This is from galaxy.com if you're wondering where the source is. They give borrowers flexibility that banks, basically lack. And their floating rates give lenders interest rate protection that fixed rate alternatives don't have. Back in August 2023, because this whole year is not done yet, the global private credit loan market is estimated to be worth 1.5 trillion, at least at that time. And what you see here is that explosion, all right? But again, what value was on chain? What value was on chain in regards to private credit? And again, big name, Centrifuge. Active outstanding loans grew by 155.7 million. But I love this. Clearpool, like we know, decentralized credit marketplace, experienced the greatest relative change over the past 3 quarters of 2023. From January 1st to September 30th, again back in 2023, the platform's loan balance grew 966%. And keep in mind, 2023, that was even during a bear market, everybody, reaching 23.96 million by September 30th. And Clearpool originated more than 400 million worth of private credit loans across 3 chains: Polygon, also zkEVM, and Ethereum. And of course, they added Mantle. They added also, for example, Optimism. Despite the growth in 2023, the value of the total active private credit loans represented on-chain is still down 70%, but actually they're up because of what we saw happen recently. So again, this is from 2023. All right. Another thing I want to take you to is where I want you to see some of these other key things here. And that is, again, where Clearpool is at now. 589,769,812. So that's a big, huge growth from that 400 million some odd where it was. So take you over to here. I'm going to give you some examples I think you definitely need to pay attention to. And if anything, where I'm going with this is, what about the whole thing of Clearpool? What about if we took just 0.5% of $30 trillion? What could Clearpool do with that? Well, 0.5% of $30 trillion is $150 billion. As you see here, Clearpool is at a rank of 222, and it's got a market cap of $412 million. Well, why point that out? Well, basically, it's like this. If we were to take $422 million and let's say it doesn't do 50-fold like these articles point out, and just does 10, well, that would bring us to $4.2 billion market cap. All right. What do we have in regards to the example for that? Well, at a $4.2 billion market cap, that would put Clearpool at what you see FET at, which is Artificial Superintelligence Alliance. Keep in mind that even with the example, well, FET has a bigger supply than Clearpool. So I think we're being more than fair here. All right. Why does this matter? Well, check this out. Clearpool, with the market cap of FET, would put Clearpool at a minimum of $6.13, which is not too shabby. Bare minimum. All right. And if anything, that's like you see, about roughly a 10x. Okay. Am I on to something? I think I am. And if anything, I understand, guys, people say, you can't, it's not all assets represented on chain. Again, it's just an example. It's not 100% spot on, but comes very, very close. And of course, for current market conditions. All right. What about if we did do the whole 50 times? Okay. I hear you. That would put Clearpool at a 21 billion 100 million market cap, so roughly 21 billion. What examples do we have in regards to that? Well, the examples that we would have is basically Avalanche, sitting at number 11, literally 21.08 billion market cap, and the max supply is currently where Clearpool's current supply is roughly at. So technically not too far off with some of this. I get tokenomics a little bit different, so on. Again, it's just an example. All right, check this out. It's really interesting. Why? Because CPOOL with the market cap of Avalanche would be $29.16, which would be a 50x. Again, 50-fold. So I don't think these statements from crypto.ro are too far off. Again, I have Clearpool at $22 by 2026. They have Clearpool doing it a lot sooner than my particular price prediction. With that said, everybody, I want to point this out. And that is, I don't do price predictions too often. If anything, I've always given you guys examples of this particular sector, where it could go to, or 1% of this equals that. For me, I'm way up on Clearpool, okay? And I came in on my last bag at 2 cents. Just to give you guys a heads up, because I'm more than happy about what's going on with XRP, Stellar, Jasmine, even Quant, and some of these other ones. What stands out for me is Clearpool, because my last bag was at 2 cents. I mean, if you think about it, I mean, that's about at least a 27x. If you look at Jasmine, for example, it's done, when it went up to, for example, almost 6 cents, we saw at least a 15x or higher since the whole time of Binance.us. All right, we'll give Jasmine their flowers. But you want to know something? Clearpool definitely deserves his flowers too. Only 1 billion tokens and doing his own blockchain. Had to share that with you guys. So simply do me a favor. If you listen to this entire outline and type into the comments this key word, and that is Ozean, Ozean, because that's going to be Clearpool's new blockchain. Yeah, their very own blockchain. And I'll know that you listened to the entire outline. I really appreciate you guys listening to these outlines. The saying goes, know what you have, know why you hold it. The research trumps FUD 110%. Clearpool is something that I look forward to covering a little bit more often than normal. And if anything, I won't keep you guys any more further. Thanks again for tuning in, everybody. May you all have a blessed day. We'll see you on the next one.
If managing your crypto feels like solving a puzzle, it's time to switch to Decent Wallet. So just a few taps, you can manage, track, and secure your crypto with unmatched ease. And here's the best part. Grab your Decent Wallet at a discounted price by using the referral link below. Don't miss out on making your crypto experience smoother and more secure.